Mr. Prime Minister, please show us the resignation letter of Tan Chuan Jin that you said you accepted in February 2023, correct? Why? Because we need to see the date on that letter, the content and the reason for resignation. And did it state with immediate effect? I'm sure if it's such an important document, the resignation of the Speaker of the House, I'm sure you would have kept it in a safe place, right? For you to maybe retrieve it one day, made available for the citizens? Or was it carelessly misplaced as you thought no one would ever ask of it one day? Well, sir, we are asking. And we have a lot of questions to ask you. But for now, for the convenience of you, because I'm just going to stick to the story, because I understand, you're old, and maybe your memory is not good, you got a fragile mind, I don't want to give you pressure, Now, when you said you learned of the relationship between Tan Chuan Jin and Ms. Swee after GE 2020 elections, correct? You mentioned party members spoke to them or counseled them. Can we see minutes of this? And my question is, aren't you the leader of the party? You didn't see the importance of this, handling the case personally. If I had a group, somebody did something wrong, I would go and check up personally, Mr. Prime Minister, why didn't you take charge of this and sack them back then? You're not serious enough, lah. This is your failure number one. You did not inform the public back then. Failure number two. 2020 to 2023, no action or follow-up was taken. Failure number three. 2023, when you found out they were still going on with their relationship, you did not sack them again. Failure number four. You counseled them and you accepted his resignation letter. Where's this letter, What date in February? Do you remember? Can you go and check? Still didn't ask them to leave. Failure number five. Didn't sack Ms. Swee. Failure number six. Didn't inform us in February. Failure number seven. This, and you even told Tan Chuan Jin, to just carry on with his duties, form a transition for somebody to take her. How can you ask a person who flouted the very essence of morality and didn't listen to your counseling or your party counseling to carry on with his job? He boach up y'all. Why did you not take the responsibility of replacing him with some other members of your party? You said yourself what? The advantage of the GRC is one minister screw up, another person can just step in. This was your logic, what? You don't believe in your own logic, Or you felt no one else had the talent or capability to take over Tan Chuan Jin's job, is it? Or Ms. Swee's job, is it? You screwed up, my friend, my Prime Minister. Failure number 8. I'm losing count here now. Why didn't you inform us all this time? What was there to hide? You've always been forthright, open, transparent, honest, and with the highest standard of integrity in this land. What happened to all those values, my Prime Minister? And your party members, often you and your party members fondly speak of, these values, which always ends up with rapturous applause and whistles and enthusiastic shouts. Maybe you heed the words of Tharman and decided to not to monopolize these values. And now Tan Chuan Jin screws up again with the hot mic, or I would say the foul mouth incident. You said, in your own words, this incident precipitated for you to finally divulge this information, which you and your party chose to keep close to your heart for more than 3 years plus. If such an incident didn't take place, would the pressure dissipate into the wind? This is a burning question we have, Mr. Prime Minister. And how long would it have taken for us citizens to learn of this after the next election now? This is how we perceive this to be. It could have not, why couldn't it have waited until the next elections? Why not? It's not that important, what? Speaker of the House was in an adulterous relationship with a member of the House. How can we perceive this whole fiasco? You have misled us into believing you, making us think all was well, and your ministers of high moral standard, standing on high grounds, mismanaged the whole truth and hid relevant details about your ministers from us. Failure after failure. You have made more mistakes than Tan Chuan Jin and Ms. So put together, And you allow Tan Chuan Jin, a person with low morals and integrity, to lead and to make judgment calls on two elected members of the opposition, Pritam Singh and Mr. Faisal Manap of the parliament. Very questionable decisions. Not only you kept us in the dark, but continue to lie of making us believe the integrity of the Speaker of the House was impeccable. Your transition plan to pass over the baton to Mr. Heng Swee Keat, a racist, was a failure. Your plans to pass the baton to Mr. Lawrence Wong, who has failed in his duties as a finance minister, who failed in allowing to observe and take charge of our reserves, mishandled by Temasek, is also a failure, and the plans to pass over the power to him looks flimsy now. Failure after failure. Dear sir, you stated that holding integrity as a statement is a cardinal value, but you've done a cardinal sin by having people who gave in to their carnal instincts a platform to still thrive in their positions, to represent the citizens in the biggest stage of our nation, our parliament. And to think a person who did not heed your counsel was allowed to carry on his duty in a respected position as the Speaker of the House is unfathomable. This coming from our leader, a leader of a developed nation, no, is nothing short of utterly being shocking. Is this the precedent we set for our future leaders and for our children? We always pride ourselves in believing that we live in a meritocracy, right? Let's not devalue the system by giving merit to those only in higher up the ladder. And for your mismanagement and misjudgment that allowed a person of low moral character to still hit the gavel if need be in parliament. Big question mark. Now my question to you, sir. My hands are shaking because I'm angry with you. Are you